Hello, welcome back to Blendogu LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share a breakdown of this node setup I created in Blender using SphereChalk. So it's pretty simple. If you look at this, you probably can already guess what this is. Um, it's random numbers being scattered in 3D space, and for each numbers, I make it so that I have a single geometry that's kind of overlapping. It cuts if the numbers kind of overlapping, it's become a cutter, and I simply extrude it up, and we have this kind of miniature, maybe like a concept of a city. It's not exactly city, but just like small buildings, with random shapes. And if I scrub, you will see, I think the middle one, this one will change, and it's a bit random. Sometimes it failed to generate. Whenever there is a red happening in SphereChalk, it failed to create. Maybe it was too complex, but occasionally it does create something. So the rest of them is just other example. So let's take a look at the setup. It's much simpler in SphereChalk because there are few power nodes in SphereChalk that geometry nodes doesn't have. But yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so we have a frame that's randomizing the seed. That's we put that to the side. I started with a plane, and I populate the plane with a number of objects. Let's make this smaller so it's could be faster. Yeah, okay. 10. So it's just distribute points on a mesh, and I merge all of them by distance. If they are too close, I merge the points if they are too close. So it's just like a kind of like a random scatter of points, and I'm using these as a matrix. Up here we have a random number generators. I can make this less or more. Yeah, I think basically random points and random numbers. And I have these string tools that convert from numbers into string, so I can plug this into TV beta. This is a typography viewer beta, so it's for to generate a 3D text objects. So it's generating, each one of them is generating text objects. And then the next thing I have is a get object data, get all the text that's been grouped, or just get all the text that's being generated here, and then use that input, and we start to process it with a couple of nodes here. The first one, limited dissolve, it's gonna make all the text. If the text came out as tessellated, like triangulated, this limited dissolve with a bit of value angle here will get rid of that and clean up the text into just a single face. And then we can mesh join, intersect it with edges, and planar Edgenet. This is probably not so simple to explain, but if you have bunch of letters, like that, some of them compound, maybe letter L. So we join all of this text mesh, and then we can intersect the edges. So whenever there's intersection, it's gonna create a cut for us. And then the planar Edgenet actually will make every single face become like a single polygon that we can extrude. or in a way it's like if you have like a bunch of outline, like a curve like this that's overlapping each other, the planar Edgenet will turn this into face that we can operate. We can do like inset. In this case, I just do an extrusions, and the rest of them just random extrude, and the output's gonna be gamma. It's gonna be a single objects. So let's try, take a look. So we have something like this. I often in my brain I often think, okay, I have these ideas and I wanted to make it. Of course, I build the things procedurally using nodes, right? If I'm like totally a little bit lazy, I wanna ask AI to do this for me. That's probably in the future. Could be possible, and if the AI can make it more efficient, then why not? Just because sometimes I'm testing ideas that's maybe it's not exactly productive. It's probably like a useless kind of nodes. I call it Blendogu, like Chindogu in, if you find the books about Chindogu, it's collection of books. Chindogu, Japanese. Collection of inventions in Japan that's kind of totally useless, but kind of actually funny to think about it. So Blendogu is a bit like that. You make a blend, you invent something inside Blender, and it's could be slightly useless, but you give it a try and you learn, you figure out something that might be useful. Now Blender is probably crashing at the moment. Sometimes it happens with Blendogu, with Sverchok. Sverchok can be a little bit aggressive when using nodes. Blender itself is pretty stable, but with Sverchok, sometimes you experiment with it and it might crash. I can go a little bit to older setup. Yeah, okay, this is the older setup. Maybe it's easier to explain. So I have a plane and I scatter a bunch of points, just populate the mesh with points, and then I merge them by distance. Okay, if they are too close together, but actually I wonder why it's only that small. Oh, anyway, we use those points to scatter random text objects. So this is random text being generated, and they are now overlapping. So from these objects output, we can get the object, connect it. So we grab the object. If we look at this, okay, if we merge, just join all of these objects, you're gonna have an object. But these objects, if you look at the tessellation, it's not clean, right? That's why we use the limited dissolve. Okay, right, it's dissolving everything, but use the angle, small number on the angle. So now if you look at the wireframe, it's clean. So intersect edges help. Oops, I think the process is a bit slow with the intersect edges, and then we put a planar Edgenet to face. So from edges that's overlapping each other, it's gonna find a face, and then we can then simply extrude the face. Value error, value error, 0 length. So occasionally we have this issue. So I need to randomize until Sverchok nodes is happy, I think. Planar Edgenet to polygon. Yeah, okay. Occasionally this one failed. Kind of wondering why. Let's take a look. So objects gets in, limited dissolve. Oh, I used this before the mesh joint, intersect edges, and planar Edgenet to polygon. So this is probably better. Do the limited dissolve before the mesh join, and then you find the edges kind of intersecting, and then we can find faces on that, so we can have this. So this is of course super basic, but we have a nice shapes that this kind of looks like a city or maybe somewhere in Las Vegas. If we do like an inset, probably we can create like streets, but from far away it looks like a bit like city. So I thought this is kind of interesting. Okay, the extrude doesn't have the bottom part. That's okay. We can actually extrude using geometry nodes. It could be faster. So, but the whole process, like intersect edges and, you know, like having outlines, random outlines, and then turn this back into 3D using intersect edges and planar Edgenet is very cool part of Sverchok. There's a lot of nodes here. Shift A, there's a lot of nodes you can try. And I think if I make a book about nodes, it should involve Sverchok, because lots of nodes in Sverchok can handle 2D outlines or like vector drawing. I mean, like shapes, 2D shapes, and then whatever happened in 2D shapes, we can then turn it into 3D. So it's a lot of things to explore on that area. Before we go into geometry nodes, and geometry nodes is slightly faster with instancing, and also it could do simulations and stuff. So but Sverchok, there's a lot of things hidden here. Here we are just using numbers, right? If think about it, if you want to use letters like alphabet, how would you do that? So that's gonna be your homework to check. So instead of numbers into string, what is here that can generate characters A to Z? There is actually a way to do that, but I forgot for now. You can generate any kind of text, so yeah, give it a try. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.